work of classical Arabic prose. It is acknowledged that the Quran is not only one of the most influential books of prophetic literature, but also a literary masterpiece on its own right. French scholar Pause Casanova marvels at the language of the Quran. Whenever Muhammad was asked a miracle as a proof of the authenticity of his mission, he quoted the composition of the Quran and its incomparable excellence as proof of its divine origin. And in fact, even for those who are non-Muslims, nothing is more marvelous than its language with such apprehensible plenitude, and a grasping sonority, the ampleness of its syllables with a grandiose cadence, and with a remarkable rhythm, have been of much momentum in the conversion of the most hostile and the most skeptic. One of the famous poets of the seven Odes embraced Islam due to the inimitability of the Quran. Once he embraced Islam, he stopped composing poetry. People were surprised, for he was their most distinguished poet. They asked him why he stopped composing poetry. He replied, "What? Even after the revelation of the Quran?" Finally, the high-acclaimed professor and Arabist Hamilton Gibbs states that if the Quran were his Muhammad's own composition, other men could rival it. Let them produce 10 verses like it if they could not, and it is obvious that they could not then let them accept the Quran as an outstanding evidential miracle. Addressing scholarly contentions, an example of a scholarly contention can be found in the work of the highly acclaimed German Orientalist and scholar Theodor Noldecke. Noldecke was an academic critic of the linguistic and literary features of the Quran and rejected the Quran's claim that it cannot be imitated. For instance, Noldecke remarks that the grammatical persons changed from time to time in the Quran in an unusual and not beautiful way. However, his criticism actually brings to light the weakness of such contentions. The Quranic linguistic feature that Noldecke refers to is actually the effective rhetorical Arabic device known as iltifat, grammatical shifts. This literary device enhances the text's literary expressions. It is an accepted, well-researched part of Arabic rhetoric. One can find references in the books of Arabic rhetoric by Al-Athir, Suyuti, and Zarkashi. The main functions of these shifts include a shift in emphasis to alert the reader to a particular matter and to enhance the style of the text. Its effects include creating variation and difference in a text to generate rhythm and flow and to maintain the listener's attention in a dramatic way. Examples of dramatical shifts include changes in person, change in number, change in addressee, change in tense, and using a noun in place of a pronoun. The 108th chapter of the Quran, Al-Kawthar, the Abundance, provides a good example of the use of these grammatical shifts. Indeed, we have granted you, O Muhammad, Al-Kawthar, the Abundance, so pray to your Lord and sacrifice to him alone. Indeed, your enemy is the one cut off. In this chapter there is a change from the first person plural, we, to the second person. Your Lord, this change is not an abrupt shift. It is calculated and highlights the intimate relationship between God and the Prophet Muhammad. The use of we is used to emphasize the majesty, power, and ability of God. This choice of personal pronoun calls attention to and stresses the fact that God has the power and ability to grant Muhammad the abundance. Your Lord has been used to indicate and emphasize intimacy, closeness, and love. The words your Lord have a range of meanings which imply master, provider, and the one who cares. This is an apt use of language, as the surrounding concepts are about prayer, sacrifice, and worship. Therefore, turn in prayer to your Lord and sacrifice. Furthermore, the purpose of this chapter is also to console Prophet Muhammad, the